Welcome back to the channel, K.O.D.E and Space Cadets. It's the leader of the Cosmic Armada and librarian of K.O.D.E Archives, back to bring you another ORDEAL Webtoon review. It's been a while and I'm finally in the position to be able to be consistent. So with this chapter, there is a ton to dissect. So if you enjoy the contents of this video, do me a favor, like the video, comment down below, and consider subscribing to the channel with the bell enabled so that way you don't miss out on future video. But without further ado, let's get started with episode 125 of Ordeal, titled Zahara's Light. Now, the events of episode 125 begins with a perspective shot, where with the last episode we end off with the look of Jose realizing that Shay is an actual threat. This perspective is of Leif screaming out to Captain Jose as he pleads with Jose, saying, "You must focus, sir. She has succumbed to the curse. Her next attack may be far greater than what we've witnessed thus far." However, Leif's plea falls on deaf ears as Captain Jose gets lost in thought, thinking, impossible. Each orb has the weight of a dying star. It is an immeasurable mass. There is no counterbalance. He shouldn't be able to. As he fails to finish that thought, he continues by exclaiming, "He's been pretending this whole time? He's never been confined." Jose furthermore recalls their arrival in Japan a day earlier during the K.O.D.E meeting, as we see Jose navigating the city during the evening. As he is trying to keep a low profile, he explains how he felt at that time, in the active time, saying, "When we landed in Shinjuku yesterday, I knew something was off. Our mission was secured. No one was supposed to know our whereabouts or what we was about to transport. But I could still feel it no matter how faint a hostile chi sinks." As he compares Shay Chi to a homicidal maniac hiding his thoughts, he goes into further detail by saying that somehow that faint chi is focused on him, as he notices a person hovering overhead stalking him as he walks amongst the citizens. As Brent provides us with the reasoning for Shay getting held up with a callback panel, it is used as a transition to further Jose's analysis. He states, "Wait, could this be chi detection akin to the former 7th Lord the chi sent? If so, he knew we'll be here, exactly what our shipment contained, and that we'll fight tooth and claw to defend it. He was only surprised when Leif showed up, since Leif has been concealed by his mantle." As Britt goes into further detail, it includes another flashback panel reflecting the importance of questioning the intentions behind statements being made during more focused shots. We then shift back to a self-restrained Shay as Jose begins to catch on to the chemio that is the Ilios vessel. As he further analyzes Shay, he ponders their own actions by saying, "We've been fighting under the assumption they were caught off guard by our presence, made to believe the odds were in our favor, but this boy has known since the jump." Forgetting that he is on the battlefield, he continues to get lost, pondering about Shay stating, "A tactician, yes, but to what end? What are you after?" As that thought finishes, a blade pillar launches so quick that even before he noticed it, he was pierced, blood erupting as he begins to think, "Shoo, damn it. We still must deal with cursed chi." With Jose now focused on a more sensitive opponent, he relays to Leif that he regrets that they have not been in control of the situation, landing next to Leif in the blink of an eye. As Leif bears the pain, he says, "Enough of your thoughts, Captain. You are not present. For if you were, we no longer face a mere chemio, but a newborn living talent." As we peer down to Andrea, barely holding on to who she is, as she begins to lose the struggle to Noragiri. We are shown she is now gripping the weapon with her metallic arm, attempting to loosen the hold the weapon has on her. As she begins to lose the very hope of holding back the curse, she drops the blade completely. As Jose begins to state, "This is what cursed chi can do. A man who desires it will lose himself at this stage. She will soon be dead. The talent will remain, but her mind will be lost." As we are shown with Andrea letting out a beastly howl of cursed chi, as she slowly morphs into a monster that isn't recognizable to who we know she is. Jose begins to analyze their opponent's current state. He says the curse is now fusing with her chi and has even assumed control of the body. Even with that being the case, he further exclaims that her chi is less potent than his own, as Leif fears that he can't predict the outcome if she fully transforms. So he pleads his captain to transform again. As Andrea begins to fold because of the pain her body is experiencing through that transformation, Jose states that the god tier will be alerted if he transforms. Then, as Andrea roars aggressively, this signifies that she's becoming more of the monster that she's hunted up until this point. She is disregarded by Team Martinez as Shay breaks out of the Ursa Major effortlessly and removes the Dead Star rod in his hand. Leif expresses his worry of Shay breaking out, thinking that he thought that they had more time, as Leif tells his captain to transform. and in the meantime, he will stop the boy. Shay begins to free Venter, tightly gripping the axe given to him by his late beloved master. As Jose tries to warn Lathe, it falls on deaf ears. As Shay hurls Venter at such high speeds with such extreme cold emanating from the blade, it's reminiscent of an arrow piercing through the wind with a single target in mind. As Venter collides with Lathe, it instantaneously erupts into a glacier, thus trapping Lathe, completely incapacitating him. As 3 of Andrea's limbs are absorbed by twisted flesh and spikes leaking cursed chi, she struggles to retain some resemblance of the woman that Shay loved by saying, "Stay away, I'll kill you." As Shay freshly approaches Andrea, softly touching her face, while Noda blades are stopped by her will just short of piercing Shay. Shay reassures Andrea that there is no reason to be afraid of defeat since she has overcome it already. As Andrea begins to tear up at her helplessness, Shay exclaims, "You are not broken, nor were you in need of my aid. Without me, you would have defeated them. I had to be certain you knew that. I'm sorry." As he promised her opponents like this would no longer exist, he peers at Noda. As the cursed weapon begins to hum and emanate its chi, Andrea is keen to Shay's intention for the first time since reuniting. As she panics, she screams, "No! Listen to me. You cannot wield it. Don't you dare think about it. At this stage, Noda corruption is unrecoverable. Shay, I don't have much time. I can finish them off like this, but when I am done, you must kill me." Given the choice of sacrificing the one he loves or sacrificing himself to protect the person he loves, he stands before Noda, ready to give himself for this very sacrifice. We are shown Ilios, who is observing with the armor of the first man donned, stating, "So this is it. This be the one thou hast chosen, Prince Heart?" We then shift back to Andrea stretching out to Shay with all of her being, screaming, "Enough! Shay, my chi is almost fully under its control. There is no turning me back. Use this to your advantage. These titans are no joke. If you touch the blade, you may become as I am. Let me finish this. Noda influence is great." As Shay tells Andrea sadly he knows, but he will not lose her. Jose then understands that Shay has wanted this cursed weapon Naginata for himself. Jose can get a general feel that over half of Andrea's chi has been absorbed, but the risk obvious to everyone on the battlefield. Shay reaches for the Naginata, offering himself as tribute to the cursed blade. Jose states that the blade won't lose the opportunity to gain an even stronger vessel, so it will take the bait. As Shay touches the blade, Noda influence erupts in cursed chi so much so that it begins to knock Jose back as he shields himself with his wings. Given the strongest body in the world, Shay is losing the battle of chi with the cursed blade as it begins to warp our protagonist's arm and courses through his very veins. As we are then shifted back to the founding father of flame, stating, "Noda, your reputation precedes you. Your true name has been mentioned in the heavens. Listen, Lord Heart, your body is a perfect vessel for a cursed talent. Those which have strayed from the ordinance of their God, she will put up a great fight. She won't allow a host as powerful as you to get away from her. A lust for power, don't and allow one to yield. She hath waited all of her life for a moment like this. Remember the law of obedience. You must not bow, my lord, but you must subdue her, or she will own all you have." As we see Noda resonating violently, Ilios states that if Shay loses here, there is no coming back for either of them. And since he can't help Shay, it's up to him alone. As Shay's right arm morphs to that of a lost tortured soul, Shay struggles to speak with Noda, stating, "You seek purpose." As he lifts the resisting cursed blade, he says, "I was given one by he who sees all and is above all, and part of the purpose is you." As Shay connects to Noda, he informs us the very feeling of the talent weapon. He says, "I feel your desire. I know what you think was stolen from you. You feel misplaced, an existence without reason. You are only a wanderer because you have strayed from the path intended for you, and taken upon yourself a cursed name. You may have forgotten, but I will remind you of your path and the first name you were given. You were created to aid me, to help me carry my burden. In doing so, you will be granted the desire of yours. Therefore, Zahara, you will bind my foes." As the malicious chi emanating from Zahara, cursed soul is lifted, as is the cursed chi resonating throughout Shay's body. As the holy chi erupts from its cursed shield, Noda leaves Andrea and is no more. Now there is only Zahara and her chemio that will save the world. There are a few noteworthy things in this chapter. First, I do want to talk about Jose. Since his introduction, he is shown being really observant, almost too observant. Multiple times his subordinate had to grab his attention as he was lost in thought, so much so that he was damaged by Andrea, who he stated to be at a weaker level of chi than his own. Brent stated that the Gaki hands operate at the same tier as the Royal Blood tier, as Gaki in strength but not in experience, although they could potentially rival them in power. So in this case, once Jose shifts, he can be comparable to a Gaki in power and chi, but will lack the experience to properly maximize the boost, similar to Shay when he first entered the raw state. Shay stayed powered up a long time, not due to his chi control, but the mass amount of chi that his body naturally produces. Similar to Shay, if Jose were to unleash his chi, it should exude weight. However, he may get overconfident on his power boost, leading him to overestimate Shay yet again, leading to his downfall. Keep in mind that Lord Hart has not entered Elio's combat mode, nor did he activate war state. Up until this point, he is able to keep up with both opponents individually with little hassle. The next character I do want to talk about is K.O.D.E and the Law of Obedience. When we was first introduced to K.O.D.E, it resided in the battlefield of death, consumed by its lust for battle. At that moment, it seemed that it was only able to manifest itself on that weaker Kimio up to a partial scale, meaning it only covered its arm. This could be due to that Kimio's low aptitude, while K.O.D.E it longed for its proper Kimio, who had the ability to master it in order to completely dominate that Kimio, thus becoming a living talent weapon. Now, Romans chapter 6 verse 16, it reads, "You do not know that mean you offer yourself as obedient slaves. You are slaves to the one you obey, whether you are slaves to sin leading to death or to obedience leading to righteousness." The verse sounds harsh, but it's not. It's more of giving credence to following God, as those who follow becomes righteous and fulfilled, while he who denies only leads to their suffering and ultimate doom. We're taking a look at K.O.D.E a little closer. We do not know exactly when it came into existence, which could mean after waiting so long for Shay, it began to lose itself. The destined weapon of the rod of man questioned its purpose. Maybe after not being utilized for so long, it feared being forgotten. So instead of Zahara being misused by Kimio and being forgotten, it forsaken its name, shutting off its holy flame, and fully embodied what it meant to be a weapon itself. And this manifested in the varying knives it's able to form, with the weapon forcing the subjugation of the Kimio, resulting in death and ultimately its potential never realized. As she chooses to obey her destined Kimio, she finds her purpose again, allowing K.O.D.E to shed its curse and become its holy weapon Zahara, and begin to live in righteousness with the rod of man. In regards to the art, there are two things that I want to talk about. The scene where Jose feels Shay staring at him, and it's called back to episode 114, is fire. It seems that they are in the same neighborhood they currently are in chapter 125. If you look at the train tracks in the lower corner of the panel and the buildings around, they could be reused assets. But up until this point, Brent has made a point of making buildings of general areas similar or repeating, but distinctive for that very area. So the fact that Jose is carrying heavy and delicate equipment, he wouldn't be able to move far with it safely and discreetly. The next panel is Andrea at her breaking point, and as the mutation grows, more of her chi is being consumed. The sense of hopelessness for Andrea in this scene is really felt, and with her scratching the ground, pulling her claw toward herself, showing the pain she currently is in is almost unbearable, but even so, she is still trying to hold herself back, with the classic face hold showing mental anguish, and in this case specifically more of a struggle to maintain oneself, causing that mental anguish. Anyway, this is all I got for this review. Let me know if you enjoyed the format down below, and if commenting is too much, feel free to drop a like. Get this video to 100 likes to guarantee that the next review is delivered even quicker than this one. Anyway, it's been the leader of the Cosmic Armada and librarian of K.O.D.E Archives. Enjoy your day, night, or evening. I'm out, Space Cadets.